let's install the NLTK post tagging feature. Mainly, I want that my language analyze out, translate the sentences each word by word, and lays out the parts of speech alongside each word. For example, you have a verb or a noun. Now I open command prompt, go back to my environment. My environment is in a G drive, which is my USB key. This is my virtual environment. If you want to know why we need the environment, feel free to watch the top right video. Usually in the virtual environment, simply script activate. For simplicity, open up the default Python idle, idle-lib.idle. Suppose you've already installed NLTK. Let's go back, enter the virtual environment and pip install NLTK. I should have got it already. If you haven't installed, there will be a big chunk of text about installation. It's already installed, so I can go back. The NLTK feature we are looking for is called post tag. Usually, we have to import NLTK first because we have to download the NLTK here. So import NLTK. From NLTK, import post tag. I don't want to type post tag, so rename it as PT. It's weird. Suppose we need to install it here. It's like NLTK, then download the whatever average post tag, that kind of thing. I want to show it to you because I didn't expect it already installed. NLTK's post tag package. Post tag here. There we go. Installing NLTK data. Download. Just leave it. For example, NLTK download like this. Module. This one, the average perception. Oops, not install. Oh, I see. Let's say we have a text. Let's put in some English text. This is a boy. Let's say I want to know this is a and boy, those words parts of speech. So I use post tag. I also need to tokenize it. So what is tokenize? That's just like turning a sentence into a list of single words. It's called tokenize. We don't want to type out word tokenize in full, so rename it as WT. For example, I call it preview. Preview is equal to this PT, which is post tag. Here takes a token. For token, we refer to word tokenize. WT here. Now my language is English by default. We have to tokenize it, right? So WT, that's the SRC text, which is my sentence, and close the bracket. I expect no post tag. Yep. Here it says, download here, this average perception tagger. Okay. Control C, Control V. You see here, this average perception tagger is just the most commonly used tag. Done. Okay, we can use this preview here, right? Copy that. It should work this time. Okay, run this preview. Here you see this is a boy. Each word is followed by its parts of speech. For example, it's a verb. Boy should be a noun. Okay, let's say if I want to show the word and its parts of speech side by side, I won't be showing it in the app format here because it really takes time to deal with CSS, something like that. Let me show you quickly. I'm going to use a package which you can just pip install tabulate in command prompt. I'll just leave it, assuming you know how to do pip install. Let's say we've installed tabulate. We use its tabulate function. I don't want to type tabulate in full, so rename it as TB. Let's say we want to place the parts of speech on top of each word, DT, these kind of things on top, those kind of words below. So what should we do? For example, this is called top list. make this a list first. The list is shown as a square bracket. It's just like in Excel. When you select a column, you see a square bracket. So you can treat list like an Excel column. Let's elaborate it a little further. For example, in preview, this thing is a list object. Here, you see a list. This put simply, whatever in between the commas is an item. This one, you can call it call it A, you can name it whatever you want. Let's call it whatever. Usually you won't use such a long name. For example, I want to show each whatever item. You see, in fact, it looks the same, but each whatever item has two items. The first item and the second item. I want to show only the first item. How? Go back to this sentence. Remember, this item is a list in itself. Within this long list, there's a small list number 1, small list number 2, small list number 3, and so on, right? That means the whatever item is also a list, right? Here we want to get the first item within the whatever item. So it's 0. Did you see this is a boy? This is the first item. You see here we have 0 for the first item, not 1. Why? Like what we said, Python starts counting from 0. My understanding is, for example, there are 3 guys, A, B, and C. I'm the person A. How many people should I count up to person C? I have to count B and C. That's just person 1 and person 2, right? I won't count myself, so it's 0. But how many items in total? There are 0 myself, number 1, person A, number 2, person B, right? So this is the usage of the Python approach. That's why the first item is 0. Let's say we only want the second item, so it's 1. Okay, so you see dt, the first item, verb here, the second item, dt appears again, and so on. Okay, in other words, let's say top list is equal to this chunk of things, which is this list above. Whatever this task is called assignment, we don't want to repeat these long names, right? So just give it a name called top list. In between, we put in single equal sign to indicate the assignment task. That's why when I run top list, it will return what we did in this for loop, whatever for whatever in preview. Okay, let's say button list. Here, we won't put 1, it should be 0. So for button list, we pick the first item. Okay, now we have 2 lists, top list and bottom list. Here we use the tabulate function. So where does this tabulate come from? That's the variable we've just defined. Control F. Let's try searching FB. There we go. Here I just pressed Control F TB. This line of code, tabulate, right? It's renamed as TB. So what does the tabulate function do? Tabular data here. Tabular data means it takes in a list. Usually there will be 2, 3, or 4 lists, something like that. There are way more properties to come. We'll just leave it and focus on table format. Okay, we only need 1 item, 2 items here. For the second item, we put in table format. To make it simple, we'll use the TSV format because it will show what we want. Otherwise, you can use HTML, that is show as web page. We'll use the rest of it when working on our app, but now we don't need them. I won't go too deep here. For tabular data, we put in a list. So we see a square bracket. That's just what we saw before. There are 2 lists, list 1, list 2. The first list is on top, which is the variable top list. You see I name it top list, right? Isn't it convenient to code? Now we don't need to memorize one more thing. The second list is placed below bottom list. Oops, forgot to assign the list to a variable. I don't want to type this line of code again, so I'll name the variable final. When we run final, it will be like this. Don't look good, right? Print final. Now it looks like this. For each word, on top of it comes with its parts of speech. This is which is what our app will do in the backend. In real app development, there are way more works to do, and I'll just leave it for the next video. That's it for today. Bye.